First, the world is tonight mourning the loss of one of the most celebrated figures of modern times. Neil Armstrong, who in 1969 became the first man to set foot on the moon, has died. He was 82 years old. His death was as a result of complications from heart surgery early this month.
Ignition sequence start.
It was one of, if not the most defining moment of the 20th century. A mission that began with a memo from President John F. Kennedy in April of 1961 asking, can America win the space race?
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Those words weren't meant for Neil Armstrong, but another space pioneer, Gus Grissom. He was killed in a launch pad fire for the first Apollo mission. Even the successful mission had its moments.
Tranquility, we copy you on the ground. You got a bunch of guys about to turn blue. We're breathing again. Thanks a lot.
The lunar landing module was just seconds away from disaster as it was running out of fuel.
No one knew what kind of person could be persuaded to take the trip. Prisoners were suggested.
Remembering his friend and colleague, another of the space program's greats, says these were risks they would all gladly take.
And so I'm not a type that goes around being envious, but for Neil, I told him for him I'd make an exception, because to do what he did, be the first person to ever set foot, ever make a footprint on some place other than Earth, is to me just one of the big steps in history.
The men along with Armstrong were Michael Collins, who stayed in the lunar orbiter, and Buzz Aldrin, who joined him on the moon's surface.
I was fortunate enough to be one of those crew members and to fly with Neil Armstrong and accompany him in the lunar module Eagle. We were missing a great spokesman and leader in the space program.
In a statement, US President Obama said Armstrong's legacy will endure, sparked by a man who taught us the enormous power of one step.
But he was a very skilled person, he was dedicated, and he was a good friend, and he'll be missed. But when I think of Neil, I think that for our nation, he truly was a person who dared greatly.
And from those who knew him well, humbly. No better example came in 1968 when he was nearly killed testing a prototype of the lunar landing module. Armstrong went back to the office and didn't even tell his colleagues about the crash.
I said, no way. He said, whoever it was. I mean, this guy had been a second and a half from being killed. How was it? He didn't say. I nearly got killed. I nearly, you know.
He had what they called in the space program, the right stuff.
And so I want to just say that in my heart, it's your medal, you guys, and thanks a lot.
In a statement, his families asked, next time you see the moon smiling down at you, think of Neil Armstrong and give him a wink. Marcus Rubenstein, World News Australia.